Ken Center AIFD and Hitomi Gilliam AIFD are going to do our keynote presentation here that they've done for us. Ken, you want to take it away and introduce what you've done?
Hello, everyone. Hey, Hitomi, Josh.
Hi.
Aloha.
Since I couldn't fly to Hawaii, I did the next best thing, and I flew to Vancouver and spent 4 or 5 days with Hitomi and Colin. So Hitomi and I collaborated as a team.
Yeah, this is the one teamwork that we were able to put together
Right.
to film. And so that was fun. It was fun for me to have somebody to work with side by side. I've been coveting that opportunity all this year, and we had this one. So it's going to be a fun piece of video to watch, I think.
We'll go ahead, and what we'll do is we'll roll the video with Ken Center and Hitomi Gilliam working together side by side in Vancouver.
Oh my gosh, what's this? What is this? Oh, I don't think I've ever had this before. Oh my gosh. What the heck? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Is
that legal?
Is that legal? Oh, this is a traveler's palm.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh. What the heck are we going to do with this? That's amazing. Do you remember when Bart Hassan, the World Cup?
Did them?
Yeah,
In his
he used
piece.
some of these.
You've never seen them?
I mean, I've seen it at the World Cup.
Okay.
That's where I saw it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. We got something to play
We
with.
do. Oh, they're so beautiful.
Oh, aren't they just spectacular?
Hitomi in Texas, these are boutonnieres.
What are those mums that you have?
Football
for the,
mums.
Football mums, and for the yeah.
Look at this obaki, Hitomi.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. Different small sizes for some of our smaller work.
Oh, wow.
Look at this. Isn't that
That
beautiful?
long, beautiful.
Gosh, look at that.
Is that
Midori
what you're
orchid.
referring to when they're not quite so
Yeah,
flat?
exactly. It's kind of got this
Yeah,
beautiful curve to it, right? Okay, let's see. Aloha, everybody. It's really been a fun time here working on a program with a very good friend of mine, all the way from Houston, Texas. His name is Ken Center, AIFD, and he has the company, The Centerpiece, which is a premier wedding and event company, production company. And so we thought it would be really great to get a wonderful perspective from his part of the country and also his kind of business, because he's in production doing a lot of wedding work all the time. So using tropicals, in our case here, to working with the wedding work is something that he can tell us a lot about. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Ken Centers. Right here.
Thank you, Hitomi. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this thing, and for HFNA for promoting these tropical flowers and the use of them in the wedding celebration. I feel honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, we're so excited because your expertise is so valuable. And, we just like to hear from all the different parts of the country and the different ways things are done in different parts. And I know you got tricks up your sleeve that are really fun that you'll be sharing. And so, yeah, thrilled that you're here. We've known each other for some time.
We have.
And so...
Probably since the 80s.
I know. We've been
Competed
around.
against each other in the early days.
That's right. That's kind of how we started, wasn't it? So, yeah. So, and you're still competing, and you're still at it, teaching and everything. So
I try to do it all.
Yeah, it's all about sharing, and you do that so well.
Yeah,
so
thank
we're
you.
really thrilled that you're here. So it's exciting, isn't it, to work with the tropicals? But what we're doing is what we call the Neotropica
styling, which means that we're going to be using all tropicals because we have had a history of most of the work that's been done for the wedding celebration has been the tropical nouveau, mixing the soft temperates with the tropicals, and that really works. But this time we're going to try to see if we can do all of it in tropicals.
You know, it is challenging because we, as designers, when we look at tropicals, they look hard, they look harsh.
Yes.
So it's our challenge, I think, to try to find how to romanticize them,
Yes.
and make them soft and lush and doable.
Yeah.
And I think we have some ideas today that will pull that off.
Yeah, I think it's really great because I know that, you know, with all the Hawaiian product line, you know, initially, you know, we decided to call it Neo Tropica because we wanted the new way of designing with tropicals to be the important focus for our education. And so we're really looking at tropicals and seeing, like you say, the softening material within the tropicals to be mixed with what has been known as a little bit harder material.
But I think what we're going to find, what I found today, is the blending of certain products, like different size anthuriums, to be able to give you that depth. You know, in my past, I've always assumed that we would just buy anthuriums as one size. They were just that size. Well, there are so many varieties, the little designer ones that are smaller that you can incorporate in little flower girl arrangements or bridesmaids, or, you know, the small and the large together work great for depth.
Yeah.
And we'll be creating some of those today.
Yeah. So it was fun when we first got the shipment. We picked it up at FedEx and then we brought it back to the studio and we opened it. What did you think about that?
You know, even in Texas, when we get our flower shipments from all the Hawaiian tropical flowers that we use, when you open those boxes, it's like Christmas. Yeah. You don't know what's in them. You're looking for the little nuggets, the fun little things, because typically they're out of our ordinary flower line that we typically use in the variety. So when you get the tropicals, whether it's the greenery and the calatheas or, you know, the banyan roots, all the little things that we strived as designers to get excited about, it's so fun to open those boxes.
Right. So what would be your advice for people that's looking to buy tropicals that, of course, you will place an order if you have specific jobs that you're designing for, but sometimes it's just fun to get a nice selection to see what they have, isn't it?
It is. And I think the new Neo Tropical book that y'all have, somebody needs to go through those and look at all the different varieties of flowers that are available on the island. You know, the different foliages, the different orchids, the different types of anthuriums, and the colorations. There's so many of them. Or you know, if you have a great connection with your wholesaler or your grower in Hawaii, just say, hey, send me a mix box for $300.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that's when you have the fun opening that box.
Yeah, exactly. So was there a surprise for you when you opened that box here?
You know, I know the anthurium or anthurium, but I always look for the fun foliages. I look for the fun branches or vines, like the passion vine we received. Yes. It's just exciting to see the little tendrils on them and the banyan roots.
Yeah. And we really did. When
we had some great product.
But when we had that great big square box, like I never received a square box for them, so we didn't know what it was, and that was quite the surprise.
Oh, that was a surprise.
Because we didn't order, it was a surprise. And we're like, okay, like we got to do this. We got to show this. And we found the home for it.
Yeah, we did.
We really did.
But they weigh so much.
Oh, yeah, they are so heavy. So your business focused a lot on weddings and corporates. Like, where do you use the tropicals?
Well, first of all, we've been in business about 28 years in the Houston market. And our business is 50% weddings and 50% corporate world. Country clubs, the Houston Zoo. So tropicals blend very easily into our corporate world and our hotel lobbies or our country club lobbies. You know, it's beautiful to do the neo-tropical look. Mm-hmm. For one, they last all week because we change them once a week. Mm-hmm. And two, they take little refurb. So I don't have to send a driver back to water the arrangements as often as I would with temperate flowers because they last beautiful. And two, people love them. Mm-hmm. People love that look of the dramatic look that a heliconia has as opposed to a hydrangea or the roses. So I think that world has always been there, the hotel lobby work. Mm-hmm. But now trying to blend those flowers, the tropicals, into weddings is our next challenge. You know, there are ways to get the foliages. Obviously, the monsteras are a huge foliage right now. tea leaves are big. Hawaiian white orchids are huge. So now it's our challenge to use tropicals in a more soft way, like the anthuriums, especially the small, different size anthuriums. I think, to me, what I've learned, that's the key, that I'm going to go back and start ordering different size anthuriums so I could blend them and not be afraid of a big anthurium in a small arrangement.
Right.
I mean, I think, to me, that's the winner that I've learned.
Well, the bridging is really the sizing.
Yeah, it is.
Really, isn't it? Because for so many mainlanders who work with a regular size flower, anthurium seems so huge, but that's because they're not aware of the fact that there's that range of size.
Yeah.
So.
And as designers, we challenge tropicals. We love that look.
Yeah, no,
It's exciting because you can create, the focal layers and the line and the form flowers that you don't get from other type flowers.
Right. And don't you think that actually, in this world of flowers and garden flower look that's been going on for quite some time, it is a great time to introduce a new element that kind of makes it a little bit more exotic. Like, it kind of gives you a feeling of well-traveled.
Yes.
Because it has a feeling of things from other places.
And it puts you in that place.
Yes.
When you see them, you're like, oh, Hawaii brings back memories.
Yeah, yeah.
But we need to somehow start using those tropicals in a more everyday use also.
Yes, I agree.
I think in a regular retail flower shop, they may have more chances to incorporate it into everyday work and then get the customer used to it so that the bride will start seeing those type flowers and think about them for her wedding.
Right. I often think that they're really perfect flower for like hospital arrangement because they last so long. And so, there's different aspects. I mean, like you say, everyday aspects that it could be used in. And I think it also gives you a sense of, like I say, well-traveled.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's cool. Where is that from? I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a certain exoticness about it.
Oh, for sure there is. Yeah.
So we've been working on this for some time remotely. We've been sort of phoning and talking and Zooming and all of that, just discussing what we might want to do. Because initially, of course, we were supposed to be doing all of this in Hawaii, sort of, and seeing the nurseries, seeing the way products are grown, and so that we could have that discussion together. But it's been fun.
It has been fun. And I was looking so forward to that because I've never been to Hawaii. So I was looking forward to the farm tours and also going around the island foraging and looking at other things that maybe we could use in our work that would help maybe the tropical flower growers find other items that they should be promoting to us.
Because as you know, and you've traveled a lot too, like wherever you go, you see some new things that's not available to you. It's like, grass is always greener on the other side sort of thing. And we have a better eye for potential sometimes because otherwise it's stuff in the backyard. Yeah. So it would have been a fun thing.
It would have been a lot of fun.
But another time.
Another time.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm in Hawaii.
Yes.
I have the ocean. I've got trees. I've got rain. I've got tropical flowers and foliages.
Need the sun. But it's been fun conceptualizing what we're going to do when we come together to do this. And I think that's been the best part of all
this. It is.
It's
always fun to collaborate with a fellow peer.
Gosh.
So.
And you know what? We're the only one that's doing it because all of them has been separate filming.
Right,
and
right.
This is kind of a landmark, like awesome kind of a documentary, us working together. And it's been fun. So here at the table, one of the first things we did is sort of sit down, like face to face, and hey, like let's do a little sketch of what we want to do. Is this what you were envisioning? Back and forth, and so that's kind of how we formulated one of the.
It is, and from my point of view, I know when we're discussing it, like, what are you planning on doing, Ken? Well, for me as a designer, I want to see the product. So I really couldn't tell you till I got here and we popped the boxes and saw the fun foliages and the calatheas and all the little fun things.
Yeah.
Then my mind started going.
So as far as what we're doing to get this started, to the demo side, we did choose kind of basically the white and green. And, when we talked back and forth, you were in total agreement. That's just...
Oh, it's just classic.
Yeah.
It's classic wedding. It's white and green.
You do a lot of that.
Yeah, we do so many white and green and blush, but you could incorporate a blush dendrobium. But white and green is the #1 wedding color.
Yeah, exactly. It just sets up well, right? I mean,
and it photographs well, and everybody loves it.
Exactly. And so doing that in all tropicals it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to kind of lead into like what are some of the things that you're thinking of doing for some of the other items that you're showing with?
So I think we're going to do a couple different bridal bouquets. One, the traditional classic cascade in the green and white. But I think the thing that I want to point out is in the design will be the layering of different size anthuriums and the use of different foliages that blend well with them. But yet letting each flower speak and show. And not, sometimes I think we get too caught up in designing when you layer so much that you lose the first one so deep that, why even put it in a design? So to perfect the blending, I think is a fun technique. And I think we'll show that with the different size anthuriums. And then we have some little, of my next bouquet I want to show is a fun little spin off on the kokedama, the little phalaenopsis that's growing.
Cool.
We have a little surprise that I think will be a fun thing that I'm going to tell you, I've never done it, but I think in my little that I have, it's going to be so exciting. And I see so much potential for this item.
Yeah.
And other ways you can incorporate it into a wedding, not just in the bouquet.
Well, I think that's the whole concept behind all this, right? Neotropica, new way of designing with tropical. Let's just think tank here and see what's new. We don't want to be spinning what we've been doing forever. We want to explore what's possible. And with social media today, with Pinterest and everything, it's all about posting these new things and see if it catches.
Right.
So that's what it's all about. So that's kind of
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it is exciting when you're actually doing some new thing.
Right.
I think that's always fun.
And for me to say it's something I've never done, well, that's what's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to find something fun and then show it to you and let you run with it.
Exactly.
So how about you, Hitomi? What are you planning?
It's kind of like that too, because I really feel like there's not only the application to the wedding itself, but I want to do something that would be fun for a bridal shower.
Oh.
Because you know what? Wedding starts way back when.
Sure does.
And, the celebration and the girls getting together or the guys getting together, do their party. So, within that, there's little mini events within it. And so I wanted to do something for that. And of course, I want to do a bridal bouquet and, have my little kind of structure, mechanics that might help to do something a little bit different. Just really playing with some new concepts and new ways of showcasing. And I think the whole idea of all tropical has not been explored lately.
Right.
Because we've been mixing things up. And we just it's refreshing to try something new.
Yeah. They were popular in the 80s.
Yes.
And now I hope we see a resurgence again because they're such a beautiful, long-lasting flower.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think that there's a cycle. It was really big and then it sort of got taken over by Martha Stewart, just soft. And we've seen a lot of soft, so it's time to start to mix and see the different.
Well, the new younger generation, they love those flowers.
Right, exactly.
The two white anthuriums in an arrangement is everywhere.
Yeah, because they hadn't seen it before. We say it's a has-been, but they haven't seen it. It's a first-time introduction. So it's a good start.
So I think we have a whole new audience.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That are real social savvy and social media savvy and, the Pinterest and maybe we can kind of direct people's likes that way.
Yeah. It's kind of like, look at this. Do you like this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to do.
And then what are we going to come together and collaborate on one final fun piece?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That's going to be fun.
I mean, that's the best part because we have not been able to do that with anybody.
I know.
Like for the last year and a half. I know. So this has been the biggest
it's going to be fun.
Of it all.
Yeah. If we can figure out what to do, we'll have something fun.
Exactly. So it'll be fun. So here we are in the studio where Ken's been preparing to do his demonstration and kind of share with us all kinds of great ideas he have to work with tropicals.
Thank you, Hitomi. Working with tropicals as a designer, sometimes you find it challenging because of the rough textures that we think of tropicals of high style designs. So I felt what I needed to try to bring today is a way to romanticize tropicals into an everyday wedding. Cool. So the first design is simply a hand tie sheath using the classic white and green, but featuring all the tropicals, anthuriums, Hawaiian whites, the different foliages. And the bride would simply hold the bouquet in her hand as is. But what you see is different layering of product. It's not just a simple cascade. There are these large, beautiful white anthuriums. And then underneath are the small miniature Midoris. Just everywhere you look in this bouquet are different fun botanicals. different foliages, the long curly rabbit's foot, which give you that beautiful yellow, green, and soft look that you get with other temperate flowers, but here it's all tropical. It's just a beautiful way to feature these tropicals. The one thing that we want to make sure you see is that on the sides that you have coverage, and the coverage is by a beautiful obaki, because a lot of photographs are filmed with the bride from a side angle, and you want to make sure you have a beautiful flower, not just a wad of foliage. Same on the other side. All of this was designed in a chicken wire egg that you would just simply, all the stems insert into, and they come out, and now that's your handle.
Yeah.
You can finish off the handle with ribbon. You can finish it off a bunch of different ways. I simply bind wired it for today's presentation. But even when the bride walks, there's movement with the Hawaiian whites and the rabbit. And then I finished it off with things I borrowed from Hitomi's studio, like these Metalina extenders to give you that life with the little tendrils and a beautiful lime green color. What do you think, Hitomi?
The texture is fantastic. I think that's something that people forget because they think about everything tropical to be just a surface material. There's a lot of textures here. I mean, there's a lot of soft material. And, you know, dendrobium becomes the flower. That's the softer element that we often associate with temperates. And so that it contrasts with the smooth surfaces of anthurium. So that it's really a great color combinations and contrast and great textural combination and contrast. So that kind of completes exactly what is needed in a good design.
Right. So many of our brides today want round bouquets.
Yeah.
Or they want that oblong eucalyptus hanging both sides where you can't even see the bride. It's so large.
Yeah.
This gives you just a beautiful, sleek, cascading bouquet that's truly Hawaiian.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think, and I love this bouquet in the sense that no matter which way because brides never know exactly how to hold it. They just kind of randomly play with it. It's one of those playful bouquet that however they kind of pose, it looks good.
And I'm going to let you pronounce this leaf.
That is an Anthurium clarinaribum.
So when the bride's looking at it, she's facing a heart.
Yeah. That's lovely.
That's the heart. It's the wedding. It's love.
Yeah, perfect.
That's our first design.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we're going to move to our second design, and it's a play on the kokedama, which is typically a set of dirt and moss wrapped with some type of bind wire and the orchid plant in it, as we've all seen. This new look is beautiful. I took this look and turned it into a bridal bouquet.
Cool. What a great idea.
But we have the original kokedama, and we're using a coconut. So I think we're calling it a coconut dama. So this bouquet was actually designed in a coconut half.
That's cool.
And the bride will hold it in her hand.
And so,
like a kokedama.
Yeah, so and it has a definite, obvious way to hold.
It does. Yeah, there's no handle, so it's in the palm of her hand, very comfortable. I'll let you hold it to let it rest. You can see it's very light.
Yeah, it feels really good. It's really easy to hold. I mean, you can kind of do this, that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that people are asking what's the mechanics. So inside the coconut, we put water tubes that we bound with a mechanic called the bongo tie, which you will see later today in the demonstration. Very, very quick binding technique. So 8, 9 water tubes are in the coconut with the lid caps on them. I took just this beautiful passion vine and the banyan root and made a wreath.
I love the transparency, that kind of
you can see through it.
There. That's great.
It's like it's growing in your hand, like an orchid. So I drilled holes, 4 holes in the coconut with wires extended out to hold the wreath frame.
Cool.
And then just in the water tubes, designed this little curly lawai.
Yes.
A beautiful alocasia. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then little succulents, a couple little succulents down low in the design. little green Midori anthuriums.
I mean, this is perfect for a plant-loving bride, a young bride that loves plants. Like she has plants all over the apartment. It just resonates so much to some of the things that they love.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in the wedding world, the bride, we always have the brides.
Right.
Can I put the bouquet on my table? Can I lay it on my table? Well, cascades lay simply like that. With this coconut, you could have conceivably you could have a cylinder, and you can just set the design on it.
Right.
You could also, this wreath frame that we made another one just to show you the wreath frame, but added 2 white anthuriums. That this could be the bride, and this could be the bridesmaids.
Right.
Real simple.
Right.
You could also take this, just, if you're selling this look for the bride, this idea is very conceivable to maybe also put down on the table, maybe not the bridesmaid, maybe that also, but in addition, sell this with a couple anthuriums, a succulent, and the brides love candles.
Yes.
So a couple cylinders with floating candles.
Right.
So the whole wedding has this continuity of beautiful tropical flowers from Hawaii, all in green and white. I just think it's a great look.
Well, you know what? What's great about this is, basically what Ken has done is given you an idea and story that's built around the idea and the mechanics that lend itself to be interpreted in so many different ways, so that as you're kind of developing the table setting, all of it, that you can kind of throw in things that seems to be cohesive to the whole theme to begin with.
And create extra cells.
Exactly. And what's great about it, what you're doing, I mean, you're the big event person, the big wedding person, but it doesn't stop you from providing services for brides that has a budget.
Right.
Because this is obviously something that is a little less expensive, but yet they can have so much as well.
Can you imagine these king tables that we do, which is like 24 feet long, a series of high and low cylinders with these all down it, all facing different directions. Oh, candles.
Oh my gosh,
It'd be gorgeous.
Yeah.
So organic.
Yeah. And it's a quick setup.
Yeah, it is very quick.
Because isn't it in your business? I mean, I say to him this because I've entertained the idea of having an event business at one point when I had the retail, and I said, it's just too much. But, it really is about having these wonderful design systems that you can develop from a small, intimate to a big, to be able to expand it.
Yes.
And this is the kind of system that
is.
can have that. And it's really staff friendly. It's not tedious.
No.
You can get it done quick, installed quick, take down quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Good
exactly.
Stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's what I present to you today.
Awesome.
I hope you enjoyed it.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Ken, for all that wonderful ideas.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And it really brought us some really great inspiration of what we can do with a lot of this material. So now we're going to head over to my studio so that I can show you a few of
That's
my
going to be
ideas.
exciting.
Oh, we hope so.
All right.
Okay. So I've been working here in my studio space away from Ken. And so first I want to show you a bouquet. I think every wedding needs a bouquet. So this is the bouquet that I created. I'm just going to bring it out here like this. So with this one, I started out with a chicken wire pillow, and then I actually added a bunch of passion vine and created a little bit of an armature into which I then placed some of the Talanza Xerographica, and those are just placed with a little bit of glue. So those are all glued. And so basically the silhouette of this whole design, the kind of the outer silhouette was created with all the greens first. I also used the whale back and I sort of split it so that I have the outside a pair that was peeled off and away from the main core so that it gives me sort of 2 layers, and the one behind it is sort of a split but closed at the bottom. And so all of that is placed, also the monstera. So it really gave me, by greening it, give me really a feeling of what the size of this bouquet was going to be.
And because this is all about Neotropica, all about all tropicals, really wanted to showcase what kind of multiple groupings of anthurium can do for you. And because of this particular wedding being really an all-white wedding decor, with the wedding itself, the bridal party and everything having a little bit of the purple and lavender in it, it just seemed really perfect to start out with the Hokuloa white anthurium as sort of a surround sort of edging. And then I added the Regina, the real deep purple, which, by the way, kind of does coordinate with the center of these Phalaenopsis as well as the Dendrobium. So that's kind of pulled to the back. You can also see in the Cymbidium themselves that there's that purple in there as well, so that there's a real coordination of color and texture. So I did that. And then I kind of came in with some of the smaller tulip anthurium, the lavender lady, to come lighter and lighter through the middle, so that in the heart of it, we have this grouping of Cymbidium that kind of coordinates all the colors together. It has all the colors that's in this spectrum right here in the Cymbidium orchid. So that becomes sort of the focal emphasis of this bouquet, to be the Cymbidiums, and then let's kind of highlight that, and kind of the crowning piece in this is the Phalaenopsis that has that beautiful combination of color that's so special. So it's just a one stem with the 3 blooms on it that I cut off of the plant that really kind of unifies this whole thing and give it like a real punch. And then after that was all done, then I added the plumosa fern, so that there's a little bit of lightness, because that's really the difference between all tropicals. Like a lot of the tropicals typically are very, very smooth surface, like all of these smooth surface. So you really need that texture of something that's fussy. And the plumosa fern does that, as well as the maidenhair fern, which is so delicate. That little bit of delicate just really brings out that beautiful textural contrast that makes it really beautiful. And then in addition to that, just adding a little bit of jasmine vine, so that you have a beautiful curvilinear line that flows through the design and gives it that final touch that seems to play so beautifully with these little Tillandsia xerographica leaflets. So that's kind of how I did it. Now, just so that you can see it underneath, like basically what I did was use the podocarpus to just stab into the pillow so that it really covers up the mechanics of it. I just tied it with a bongo tie. I'm gonna go ahead and put a ribbon wrap around it, but I did a quick tie with 2 bongo ties so that it's held together, so that if I want to still put a few more stems or move it around or something, it still gives you the ability, because it's rubber band, and so you can still push stems into it. It's really a great mechanic that works really well with bouquet making. So that's kind of my bouquet right here. So the next one, what I did was actually a floral couture headpiece. So I did this on this mannequin head, and it was actually a clasp onto this structure with the bongo ties as well. So it's actually, the band itself has a bongo tie on the front side and the back side, and so it's held together. I actually had, I think you might see it in some of the clips, that I had piece of wax paper on top of this, so that as I'm gluing, I'm not gonna mess up the mannequin. So I did that, and then of course I took that away. But you saw all the mechanics of it. A lot of it is actually gluing a lot of different varieties of anthuriums again. So some of it is like a bake, some of it being the oshiro, the white, the hokuloa, And then I have a little half split Anthurium clarinarium that's sort of underneath here. And then on the back side, a lot of like there's Midori Anthurium as well, so that it really kind of marries the green and the white combination on the obake, so that it really kind of, you see a real transition of color with the Anthurium, but it gives you really nice surface for gluing, and also gluing in the dendrobiums, the fluffy rabbit foot fern, so that you see that soft texture in front of some of these harder, slick surfaces of Anthurium. But the Anthurium actually sort of pushed in nicely and nice and tight and glued in, gives you a beautiful surface to work off of and glue some more material on top of it. So I did that with actually the Lavender Lady Anthurium over the whites. And then that then transitions to the Mocara orchid. These blooms, that is kind of the lavender color that goes with the Lavender Lady. And then I sort of spiked it up with a combination of cymbidiums that are clustered. And again, like in a bouquet, it really carries some of the main colors that I wanted to explore with this palette. And so you see that all of that is being glued in there. Little bit of jasmine to kind of give it a little bit of a trail to one side and then to the other. And even the pieces of foliage that came off of the bottom end of the jasmine also glued in, so that it's got a lot of detail in it. And some of the actual dendrobium, and especially the purple one, are singly glued in as an overlay to add that real bright color pop at the very end, because otherwise it was looking very soft, very lovely. But the reason what this is for, by the way, is because it's not likely that the bride's going to wear a headpiece like this for the wedding, because she's carrying the beautiful bouquet. However, I mean, you just never know. There's no there's no rule, or that there's no such thing as something is not possible. Give the bride the idea that this is possible. But really what I did here was to give an idea for really a bridal shower. I just thought the bridal shower is where the girls, all the guests, the girls, as well as the bride, wants to just, have some photo op moment and, want to dress up and costume out. And so I thought it would be really fun to have a piece like this for the bride, as she sort of sits in her throne, whatever that might be that the girls put together for her. And then maybe that there might be a little workshop. And this is kind of a start of something. So you can see that actually the mechanics behind this is a piece of cardboard that's cut into a circle and then clipped and made into kind of like a cone. And it has a little bit of Middlino extender sort of twisted around, and so that it gives you lots of gluing surface. This was actually pinned in. You can see that this was pinned onto the styrofoam head. So maybe you can have, half a dozen or dozen of these heads so that the girls, when they first come, they can, you can get a florist to kind of lead a little hands-on workshop so that all those girls could make a little something, of their own. And so that you can see that this is just a start. And you can just glue a few more flowers, of course, to cover all this up. But I just wanted to show the mechanics of it and how easy that is with Oasis glue to just glue on flowers. And so that way you have all the girls, the guests are all decked out with these fun sort of fascinators. And then the bride at the throne at this little party, whether it's at the restaurant or whatever, could be wearing this beautiful headpiece. And then as a group, together, you can get this wonderful photo. So that's kind of what I was thinking would be really, really a lot of fun.
So you were all probably wondering what Ken and I were going to do with the Ravenella, the traveler's palm. You know, when we got the shipment, opened the box, here they were, these great big things, and so heavy. And, you know, everybody's like, oh, anxious to see what you're going to do. I mean, initially, we just didn't know what we were going to do, but we had a couple of days to think about it. And so this is something that I decided to do here. So this is a pair maybe for a buffet table, something like this, or it could be really actually at a banquet table, perhaps, because there's a lot of room underneath, and most of it is suspended and kind of floating across the face of the Ravenella. It was such a big surface that basically what I did was I actually attached the stem of it by drilling the holes through the stem and then wrapping it with zip ties to actually a lampstand. It's actually an IKEA lampstand. And so that's kind of how it's done. And on the back side, you would just cover up that black stand. It's just a very thin rod. And so it really is a very easy way to get this to stand up really, really nice. And so then after that was set up, then I went in with a chicken wire roll, a very thin one, and I actually snaked it across on this side and then snaked it across on the other one in behind, sort of recessed back a little bit more. And it was supported by a couple of sticks, like willow sticks that were woven through horizontally so that it was attached to that. And then basically what I did was I took the podocarpus, short pieces as I normally do. I just tucked it into the chicken wire roll because when you do that, that greenness actually makes the chicken wire itself disappear very quickly. And into that, I did put a few water tubes in it because especially like the passion vine, especially with the fresh leaves on the tips, they would actually collapse if it weren't in water. So some of those vines are in the water tubes that were tucked into those chicken wire roll. It just makes it so easy to just pop in the water tube in all parts of that chicken wire roll. Makes it very, very easy. But other than that, all of the other material, except for a little bit of the dendrobium, which are also in water tube, but all the anthuriums. So we have, again, many, many varieties. So we have the clarinarium, the leaf. We have the midori in the designer size, as well as a much bigger one on that side. So that, you know, I actually have the medium size as well as a designer size of the midori. I also had the tropic lime so that you have that lighter shade, almost pastel shade of green in there. And then I have those shiro, also in two different sizes. I think I have a small and actually these are actually hokuloa, small and then also designer size, so that there's two sizes. And so really by encrusting it, you start to get a nice dimensional use of those beautiful heart-shaped anthurium to give it kind of an encrusted look. So all the way through. And it's really a collection of anthurium that floats through and into those chicken wire roll. So that's how it was done. Also adding the vine to it really makes it much more fluid and give it a curvilinear feel in contrast to the sharpness of the Ravenella. And then in addition to that, I added the dendrobium, of course, and also the cymbidium, because those are a little bit softer material that contrasts very well. It's almost like if I were to use a rose or a peony, you still need something like that in a lot of romantic work with the wedding, that it can't be so spiky. So I think that the orchids really serves as that. I did use a little bit of Floriculture, little clusters of those pods, because again, the color is exciting and also the texture is really, really gorgeous. Now they are something that I've seen in the fields in Maui, like in the pastures and that. And so I know that it's something that actually kind of grows wild there over on the island. So in addition to that, I think a lot of this really becomes like, because this is really event work, wedding or corporate or a party design. So basically a lot of it is free stemmed because it's for event work, that's to last for probably no more than 12 hours. Some of the final touches are just styling. So, just a blossom put at the base so that you don't see the stubby end of the red vanilla palm. So there's a lot of it. It's about styling. It's not for longevity with water tubes. It's not necessary because it's for an event. So that kind of wraps up what I did in here. I mean, this would be very stunning on a big table at a wedding. So, and one more thing that I do want to mention, right in the background at the top, this is one of my latest thing that I did on canvas, the painted, and most of it is tropical. So I wanted to showcase that it just happened to be in the background, so it's perfect. But that fact that there's a lot of beautiful tropicals that dry so well, that could be preserved, and it has another second life after the fact that it's finished. So while I've been working in here and showing you all these designs here, actually Ken's been out on the deck, getting a head start on the piece that we're installing outside. So let's head on out there. Okay, so Ken, this is exciting because this is our last kind of piece.
It's our finale.
It's kind of our collaborative piece, and we're doing a
suspended arbor.
Yeah, so it's really something that everything's going to be hanging from a tree. So the scenario might be...
Well, I've seen pictures of Sue do fabulous installations under the banyan trees in Hawaii. In Texas, we have oak trees.
Right.
We could do the same application.
And here we are under our big fir tree.
You got a big fir.
So it's that kind of a natural setting that brides so often like for a small intimate wedding, to have this beautiful floral background and suspended.
I'm excited because we're going to show them some new techniques that we hope they can use.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Very cool. So the first thing that we're going to use are these chicken wire rolls that's filled with podocarpus. This is a main mechanic that is going to be attached to the frame, the wooden frame itself. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a little demo of how to do that. And maybe you can get started on starting to attach.
So these are the binding points that people are going to attach the flowers and the foliage into.
Insertions.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be really great.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so start with, this is what we're making, little segments of chicken wire roll, and it has a podocarpus. So a segment like this, it's cut off of the 12-inch roll, the chicken wire, and I have some podocarpus that comes in the big pieces like this, and they're cut pieces. I'm gonna lay it across like this on both ends, like this. So we're just gonna almost make like a sushi roll out of it. We roll it like this. And then we're gonna actually end up using what we call the bongo ties, which is a little stick with a rubber band on it. And we actually just do this. So wrap around that binding area and then stretch it over and just wedge it in so that it stays locked into that spot right there like that. And you're going to do that a couple more times on the other side so that it keeps it all together. Here we are. Okay.
So Hitomi, you showed them the technique with the podocarpus, but couldn't you do almost any foliage if you happen to have pit or green huck or boxwood?
I got lots of boxwood on my property. Yeah. So the purpose of it is so that when you stick the stems in, it has something that catches it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was so quick to make.
Yeah,
your
it
tube.
was, right? We're always looking for the most efficient way. I mean, anytime you're doing a wedding, like so much of it might be on site, or even when you're doing it back at the warehouse, you just want things to be really efficient, fast. So the basic wooden frame really needs to be as light as possible because we want the whole thing to be light. You don't need to build it out of 4x4s or any such thing because you're going to build out with the actual, your plant material, really, most of all. So it needs to be, well, these are made with 1x3s, and with little spacer blocks of, spacer blocks that were cut off of like 4x4s, so that we have reinforced corners so that it's nice and strong as a whole structure. And it is made asymmetrical in proportion, longer on one side, shorter on the other, just because we just want it to look a little bit funkier and not
Right.
so,
Well,
so
that
symmetrical.
is the wedding look. All the brides
Yes.
want that asymmetrical.
Yes, you're right. They're kind of getting to know what's really cool,
They
even
do.
for us designers, because we love doing the asymmetricals, don't we?
But you know, it's amazing today when the brides come in, how much more knowledgeable they are
Yeah.
than in the past.
Well, it's the social media, isn't it?
Exactly.
They get to see all the different choices, and you know, they see how attractive certain pieces are, and they bring you those pictures or show you
Oh,
on
they
their
do.
phone.
So what's nice about this method is that once we get these tubes in, the insulation part, the insertions,
Oh.
is just like making a fast arrangement.
Exactly, exactly. And the beauty of these chicken wire roll too is that they bend in shape so that you can get this beautiful curvilinear feel to it already.
Right.
It sort of sets a pattern. It's kind of like when you're sewing and you need a pattern. It's a pattern.
You know, they could be runners down a head table.
Anything.
Yeah.
You could shape it with it.
I'm excited about some of the product that we have to work with.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
some really
so
cool
gorgeous.
stuff, right? Absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about maybe the order in which we'll do it.
Right.
Kind of do it sort of one product at a time. Do
Sure.
Kind of a
As
sweep.
far as the sequence of.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
that
you
way
know-
that way you don't use it all in one spot, and then you realize you
Exactly.
need 5 more monstera.
Because you want to kind of balance out
Sure.
your product, right?
You know what's going to be fun?
What?
Showing them what we're doing to Traveler's Palm. that you
yeah.
posted.
Oh my God. Everybody's wanting to know what we're gonna do with
So
those
many
Traveler's
comments.
Palm. And you know what? It was really a surprise. You know, we didn't order it, and it came because it's a cool material that they had available for the moment. And we have
Right.
to remember, with a lot of products such as that, well, some of the product, I should say, such as that are on the rare side. If you want it, you can't just get it at that moment. You have to plan it, let people know, let the growers know that you might need it 6 months from now, you know, so they're looking out for them. Yeah, some things are the rarity that requires a little extra planning. But oh my, like if you have that, what difference it makes.
Yeah, I think it was a great idea to drill a hole
Oh,
in
gosh.
the stem because of the weight.
Right.
And we can hide the zip ties.
Exactly, up top instead of like
Coming across
holding
the
it.
bracts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It shows off the beauty of this whole surface.
Sure.
And it's nice and heavy. And this is kind of the solution we came up with, isn't it?
It
with
did. We were trying to
with
figure the
tri-
balance and the weight.
Right, and that really, it's not just for the aesthetic look and the dynamics of this, but also it gives us the weight because it's a suspended piece, so it needs anchor.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
So-
awesome. And what a beautiful bract.
Oh my
this-
gosh, it's
beautiful.
so stunning. Yeah.
Thank you, Hawaii flower tropical growers, for sending them.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent.
So the next thing, because we kind of do layers.
Right.
So next thing are the kind of the outside curvilinear flow, the beautiful
Building a
graceful
canopy,
line.
kind
The
of a canopy over it.
Exactly. So we're using the areca palm, and the chicken wire is where we thread it through so that you get that flowing in through the,
I'm going to pull it out a minute
Yeah,
and
that'll be-
push it
yeah.
back into another one.
yeah, good, thank you.
And then bind it.
So it's a kind of a little bit of teamwork, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So
we're
how
go-
much more length and size does that areca palm add?
Oh,
it's
and
incredible.
it's nice and airy
Oh.
and it's transparent. Fantastic. Oh gosh, that's
Beautiful.
looking good. We gotta always step back
You
and
do,
look at
you
what
do.
you're
See your
doing.
work.
Okay. So now we're gonna work with
Oh.
my Monstera.
You know what's
Because-
nice about the Hawaiian flower product is not only the flowers are incredible, but green is the color. Everybody wants plants, and you feel like this is a plant arrangement.
Exactly, and it really gives a sense of place.
Oh,
all
it-
of a sudden, you know, this is all about Hawaii. Yeah, excellent.
You know what's nice also, Hitomi, about these, the poultry netting tubes
Yes.
is that if you don't like where you've placed it, unlike in the prior days of foam, I can pull it out
Yeah.
and move it
And-
without
yeah.
creating a problem.
Yeah, you can kind of just fool around with it because there's all those insertion points that
Exactly.
created. Maybe you can give me a few of those.
So easy.
Yeah, it's just so simple. Those chicken wire, those little holes, those openings, you just insert it through, and you want to kind of push it through 2 layers of chicken wire
Right.
because that keeps it exactly intact. That's what you want to do. And that's also the purpose of that podocarpus that went into it too. It gives it extra little gridding that holds
The woody
it in
stem
place.
and-
Yes.
Here you go.
Thank you.
See what I have.
Oh yeah.
Piece
Oh my
there.
gosh, doesn't that look great?
Beautiful.
I wonder if we should use a little bit of tea leaves too.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the most common foliage
Yes, exactly.
that we from the mainland think of Hawaii. We think of tea leaves.
Exactly.
I mean, so far, really one bunch of areca
Yeah.
palm and 5 stems of the giant monstera and 5 of the medium.
Exactly. And of course, when you're doing something like this, and most of it is kind of frontal view, on the back side, you just slap in a few more leaves
Right.
and it covers it up. So easy. So we're going in with the banyan roots,
Oh, I
right?
love
Which
it.
is Ficus bengalensis, by the way. And these come off of those great big trees and all those aerial roots sort of hanging down. And we want to give that feel, the sense of place of what it looks like in Hawaii. So we're just attaching some of these to kind of give it that root element into this. And over on your side, you're doing that as well?
Same thing.
And you were mentioning that earthy brown that helps break up that so much green.
Right. So Tommy, having never been to Hawaii myself and seen this, does it just hang from the trees?
Oh gosh, yeah, they're just in just huge hanks, big bunches, just from way high up. I mean, some of the trees are so tall and the roots are so long, and I think that's what's really kind of amazing when you get a shipment of it. You don't realize that they're so long and yes, it's installation outdoors is always so dicey because of the weather. And yes, it's definitely raining out here.
It is raining, but you know, sometimes the brides won't make that call to move indoors to the last minute, so you just keep going
And it may just delay to between, you know, when it lets up, it just might just be that kind of situation.
So, Hitomi, I think we need to work fast because the
Yes.
weather is getting worse,
Yes.
and we need to maybe now start grouping our large anthuriums. You think?
Yeah.
I think
that's what
our
we should
foliage is
do.
okay.
I think foliage is good, and let's start on the anthurium.
Okay. Oh, look at the size of these
I
abakis.
know, they're amazing. They're kind of like, their flower, like
but they're green. It kind of bridges the combination, doesn't it?
It does. It's like a piece of art.
Yeah.
They're so impactful. You know, 3 or 4 together, you know, it helps draw your eye deep into the design.
Exactly. It kind of really sets a tone for, you know, sort of the heart of the design.
It's like the floor of the jungle where everything is beautiful.
Right.
Just love it. But Hitomi, the wind has stopped.
I know, isn't it amazing?
The rain has
Give
stopped.
me a break. Give us a break.
We have a wedding. Woo! Or a celebration.
Yes, exactly.
And with these tropicals, Hitomi, it's so easy to freeze them.
Yes, exactly, because you don't have to ever worry about
The
the
water
wilting
source.
or.
We look with the baki.
Oh my gosh.
Just
I'm just loving it.
so much excitement.
It really is. Okay, so should
Okay.
we do the green?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Excellent. Fabulous. And you know what I like to do is I'm going to use the long stem and let it come through on the other side, and then we can go and clip it
'em.
afterwards,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And I like what you just did. I saw is you can turn this. They don't all have to be facing.
No.
I mean, they can be angles and backwards.
They're like people. You want
Yeah.
some of them to be having conversation, and
Hello.
some of them are a little
Hello, how are
antisocial,
you?
right?
Let's go to the party. A lot of people have difficulty with flowers that are flat,
Right.
like the xanthariums, where they
So-
want to make them too front-faced.
Right. You really want that dimension sort of developed. Maybe we're going to do a little bit of dendrobium just to introduce a little bit of softness to the top.
Okay.
And then we're going to raise it so that we can, because you're going to be looking at it from down below.
Right,
So we want to
exactly.
make sure that we cover that as well. And I think the sort of the billowiness of the Areca palm, how they kind of went sort of curvilinear. We sort of design in a similar way, don't we?
We do.
This is where, you know, when you're in Hawaii and you have access to leis, and this is where like Sue does so much with lengths of lei and
Do they
create
cut them
garland.
and then make them long?
They make actually leis, long leis.
Oh,
out of
wow.
it.
Straight, they don't, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that
Nice.
you get these long, beautiful pieces. So we just raised the whole thing up a little bit so that you really can see that kind of suspended nature of it all, the
Exaggerated
asymmetry.
line, it's gorgeous.
So what we're going to do is just kind of finish up. What do you,
I'm going to add some more these long Hawaiian dendros to the 2/3, the bottom half, not the top.
right.
Give it that length.
And we also need to
the
kind of
drama.
design kind of so that, because you're underneath it and you see some of this, so we're going to design to kind of finish
So we
off.
have this curly rabbit's fern.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? These beautiful fluffy fern. So we're going to work with some different textures and,
Okay.
and just really, and then we're going to also work with the white anthuriums.
Oh, that'd be
to finish
gorgeous.
it off.
Beautiful.
So we're just going to get
All
to
right,
work
let's
now.
go do it.
All
Finish
right,
it. We're almost
all right.
there. We beat the rain.
we got it done.
We did it.
Oh
We
my
did it.
gosh! You know, despite the rain and the wind and everything, but we got it done.
Beautiful.
We're so happy with it. I mean, it really feels like the tropical paradise.
It's tropical paradise,
we
but
were
you're also
trying to-
getting some great tips
Exactly.
about how to produce the tubes with the bongo ties.
Right, and it works.
It does
all
work. It's so
works
easy.
so fantastically. So we're so pleased that we got it done, and we were able to showcase such beautiful product. I mean,
Beautiful.
look at it. Look at the texture of all the foliages, the rabbit foot fern with areca just draping, the dripping.
Oh, and the passion vine.
Passion vine. I mean, it just is a very wonderful representation.
And those
of,
giant traveler's palms.
Did they not work?
They work
Oh my
perfect.
gosh. Not only do they look spectacular, but it is definitely helping it balance. And keep it anchored.
Well, we did one low and one high to
Right.
help balance.
Right. So it really turned out absolutely gorgeous. We're really happy. Thank you so much to Hawaii Tropical Flower Growers and HFNA, Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association, all those wonderful growers that grow these beautiful products.
And thanks for asking me to be a part of it.
Oh my gosh,
I love it.
it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Loved it. So anyway, thank you guys. Aloha.
Aloha.
Spread my wings and let go. Something stirring in my soul. I feel it again, feel it again. Feel it again, feel it again. Unlock the cage and free my heart. This is where the journey starts. Now it begins, now it begins. Now it begins, now it begins. This is gonna be a good day. Rolling on like the thunder with open eyes full of wonder. It's a good day. It's a good day to be alive. Spinning fast, the wheels keep turning. Every night is a new morning. It's a good day. It's a good day to be alive.
Yes, it's definitely raining out here. You know, when it lets up, it just might just be that kind of situation. Okay, now we have some problem. Oh my gosh.
What's our bride's name? Mother Nature?
It's a good day to be alive. I was born to breathe the air and take a road that goes nowhere. I'm ready to live, ready to live, ready to live, ready to live. Like a dove, I fly away. Now's the time, today's the day. Now it begins, now it begins. Now it begins, now it begins. This is gonna be a good day.
In the Traveler's Palm, I know that was such an exceptional piece to see shipped out there because Russell was really talking about those in the Breeders' Forum on Friday. What a cool piece to use.
Oh gosh. And it not only was it such an absolutely gorgeous piece, but it solved a problem for us as well, because with the suspended piece, it needed a weight, some kind of an anchor. Otherwise, it just was flying everywhere. So it was just an exceptional answer to our situation, as well as showcasing the beautiful product.
And Hitomi, what you did with the Traveler's Palms for maybe the buffet piece on the lampshade was awesome. What a great
That was
technique.
fun. It was fun. It got us really creatively thinking.
It
on
did. It
the
got
spot.
us inspired.
Yes, definitely. So are there any questions, Josh?
Yeah, well, so I was curious, Tim, you're in Houston?
I am.
And I was wondering, I heard you say that it was 50% wedding, 50% corporate before the pandemic. I was wondering, we've asked this a few times of other folks, what's your opinion in the Texas market out there in terms of what the future's looking like for our industry?
It's looking very strong. You know, Texas is a very work-oriented state. Houston is wide open. Our weddings are going full speed, you know, with 2 and 3, 4 weekend. The brides that did have to postpone from COVID are now having their weddings along with the brides who had their scheduled weddings. And now we find in our country clubs that we deal with, the corporate world is coming back full speed with their events and their fundraisers. So there's a lot of business happening currently in Texas.
That's great to hear. You know, we'll bounce back from this, and I just from a grower's standpoint, you know, any preemptive input and you guys can give us as to when and as you know as much in advance as you can give us of when you see those markets starting to climb back really fast too, because I know from an interior plant standpoint, once the pandemic hit and the demand went so out of control, you can't plant the Dracaena tomorrow for yesterday's order. So it's always good to be preemptive. So it's good to hear that everything's coming back like that, and we'll grow as fast as we can out here. Something from the video that came out is there a video out there, Tim and Hitomi, maybe follow up, showing the base mechanics of the floral handpiece and other mechanic videos out there at all?
Showing what, Josh?
Oh, I'm sorry. The basic mechanics of the floral handpiece that everybody's making, or is there any type of instructional video out there that you guys might do that can help with all that mechanics work?
Hitomi, do you not currently have a ton of YouTubes?
Yeah, I do have a ton of YouTube videos that, especially to do with headpiece, because it's one of the things that not only brides, but just girls, just in general, are crazy about wearing hair pieces, wrist pieces, floral wearables. Yes, I do have several videos on my YouTube channel on the mechanics of it. And it's really fun thing to do, but right now there's a real shortage of the cold glue. That's one of the things that's the hardest to deal with post-COVID is there's a real supply chain problem. And so, while I was thinking of yesterday when I did my hands-on workshop of doing a flower to wear piece, I sort of refrained and went back to just designing part because there's such a shortage of glue that I got to make sure I have enough to hold out for some of the things I'm doing in the future. Are you finding that true too, Ken?
Exactly. Yeah. If you have some, you need to hoard it and just lock it, put it lock and key.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really that's some of the kind of the aftermath of COVID is there's a lot of lag in some of the areas of supplies that we really have to be careful as you schedule some of your future weddings and that how much of this you can dole out for each wedding, right?
Right. Yes. Yep.
Another question that came through, would moss or evergreen work in place of the podocarpus that you guys were using?
Evergreen, yes. I mean, basically, actually, Ken mentioned it too. He said, what about podocarpus? So what about, boxwood or, like anything. It's anything that's actually like even things that often goes in the dumpster, like the cut ends of stuff that you throw out, you keep those and use it inside as inside mechanic inside the chicken wire. And he mentioned huck as well, right?
Yeah. Josh, did you mention moss?
Yeah.
I'm not sure moss would be strong enough as a mechanic inside the tube for the stems to penetrate and be held in there securely. Plus the moss would dry out and start falling down. And I think it needs to be a more woody stem green for the security of the stems you're inserting.
Yeah, it seemed like it would need something to hold in there. So, and we use a lot of moss. Are you finding that to be a trend that you're seeing, different use of mosses, and are you using tillandsias as well?
Yes, we do use a lot of tillandsias in our corporate work. Mosses, not so much on our end. Weddings, we don't do a lot of moss. In our corporate world, in our event work, it's not necessarily moss related, but if I were to use moss, it might be some mood moss, just big clumps of green, or some beautiful small reindeer moss is what I'm working.
Yeah, and I think where you are in Texas, Ken, and as well as a lot of the southern states, it's so dry. So moss just dries out so fast and starts shedding and dropping,
It
right?
does. It does. You will see a lot of Spanish moss locally because we're in the South and it just
Right.
drips out of every tree.
I got that one done. Okay, so let's see. So we've got some other stuff coming up. Ken, would you like to give a final? Oh, sorry, Russell's dropping off one more question we just got right here. Excuse me. Is the cold glue eco-friendly?
That's a good question. It's something that we've not really gotten answers on what it's made from. And, you know, we really have to be starting to ask these questions. It's kind of like the foods, the ingredients in the foods and additives. So, yeah, it's one of the things that we really need to know what its makeup is. But at the moment, we have nothing else that holds like it does. And that's why it's so widely used.
Ken, do you use a lot of cold glues? And what's your strategy for being eco-friendly?
You know, same as Hitomi. We do use some foam, but we try to do a reduction in the amount of foam that we use. But the cold glue we have to use. It is a necessity in our corsage work, in our headpiece work, in our floral crowns. But we do use the glue in that application. And like Hitomi said, there's nothing else in the market that holds like the cold glue does.
So, Ken, would you like to take a moment and say aloha?
Sure. Aloha. I would like to really thank HFNA for inviting myself to be a part of this wonderful wedding celebration, and Hitomi and Colin for the hospitality put me up, and for this gorgeous lei. Oh my, this is gorgeous. Thank you so much. HFNA, I really enjoyed it. Aloha.
Aloha, Ken. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Ken.
much.
Thank you.